This meeting to order at 6:09. We have no ROTC tonight due to the school just starting, and I believe 3 of the students were out sick today, so I hope they feel better. Mr. Bass, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Bass. All right, we're going to adopt the orders of the day, but I believe the superintendent has a change.
Yes, Madam Chair. Policy 2520 will pull from the policies that are being approved this evening to be sent to public hearing, and I will schedule additional conversation in our upcoming workshop.
Okay, thank you. As per our conversation that we had in our workshop, that item is being pulled.
8 minutes ago.
Yes. Okay. Are there any items board members wish to move from consent to action? And did we lose Mr. Barefoot? He's not on. Okay. All right. If that's the case, we will move on. I'm going to call for a motion to accept the adoption of the orders of the day.
So move.
Okay. Dr. Jones?
Second.
Dr. Schiff? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. It's 4-0 vote. And at this time, I'd like to turn it over to the superintendent of schools to talk about the presentations of introduction of newly promoted principals and assistant principals.
All right. Thank you, Madam Chair, and Happy New Year to everybody as we are off to a brand new school year. We do have a number of exciting presentations. We'll be highlighting our very, very busy, overwhelmed new principals and assistant principals, so we want to take the time to acknowledge and celebrate their professional success. And we also will be doing a presentation or a proclamation for attendance. And we have a number of students who are here this evening who have had absolute 100% perfect attendance all of last school year. So we will be excited to celebrate them as well. And I'll turn it over to our Public Information Officer, Ms. Maddox.
Hi, good evening, and thank you for being here with us tonight. First up, we would like to recognize our new principals and assistant principals. And when I call your name, if you would please stand up and come to the front. We'd like to take a nice group picture at the end. I know I see your faces already. It's okay. Our new principals, we have Mr. Christopher Taylor at Storm Grove Middle School. And Mrs. Jennifer Norris at Osceola Magnet School. Our new assistant principals, Mrs. Ataba Patterson from Doddertown Elementary School. Ms. Chelsea Castillo from Glendale Elementary. Mrs. Anitra Cummings at Oslo Middle School. Dr. Kelsey Whalen at Pelican Island Elementary. Dr. Nicole Garrick at Sebastian River Middle School. And she could not be here with us tonight, but Mrs. Dawn Bennett Campbell is the assistant principal at IR Prep Soaring Up Academy, but we have the principal, Mr. Dariel Brown, back here representing the school. Mr. Richard Morgan from Vero Beach High School, Freshman Learning Center. Principal Craig Kinsley at Oslo Middle School. Miss Juliette Sulisma, Vero Beach High School Freshman Learning Center. And Miss Megan Teachout, Vero Beach High School main campus. Everyone give a big round of applause to our new principals and assistant principals. Thank you and congratulations.
Congratulations.
Next, we have our proclamation for attendance awareness. And like Dr. Moore said, our students that we have here with us tonight had perfect attendance last year. We are very, very proud of them. But first, I'd like to introduce Ms. Pam Dampier, our Assistant Superintendent of Strategic Planning. Ms. Dampier.
Good afternoon. As you know, we're so excited to have a focus on attendance. This school year, we have lots of activities planned throughout each quarter to celebrate perfect attendance, as well as attendance challenges for our staff, as well as our students. Tonight, I'm going to ask Dr. Lewis, the Director of Student Services, to come up and present the proclamation along with 6 or 7 of our students who had perfect attendance last year. And we had more students than that, but we selected students from the elementary, middle, and high school to come up and read the proclamation. So let's give them a round of applause.
Good evening. We are very excited to launch a year-long attendance campaign at the start of this school year. This campaign includes key messages on the importance of attendance, school-based competitions, and district-wide competitions. Dr. Moore and his team will be presenting an attendance trophy every 2 weeks to the elementary, middle, and high school with the highest daily average student attendance for the prior 2-week period. The winning schools get to keep the trophy for 2 weeks until it is passed on to the next winning school. The first winners will be announced the week of September 5th. September is Attendance Awareness Month. Regular attendance is vital for student success. When students attend regularly starting in kindergarten, they have an opportunity to achieve academically and thrive. Research shows that when students are chronically absent, missing 10% or more of the school year or 18 days over an entire year, they are less likely to read proficiently by 3rd grade, achieve in middle school, and graduate from high school. We have some very special students here tonight to read our attendance proclamation. Each of these students had perfect attendance last year, not missing any days. This is an incredible accomplishment. Allow me to introduce our perfect attendance representatives. Please join me at the podium as I call your name. Jocelyn Barbara, 7th grader from Gifford Middle School. Destiny Wright, she's a 5th grader from Osceola Magnet School. Jesus Madrigal is a 5th grader from Citrus Elementary. Carter Dunkley, a 7th grader from Gifford Middle School. Demarius Johnson, a 7th grader from Oslo Middle School. Rebecca Garand, a 7th grader from Oslo Middle School as well. Conrad Sylvester, an 11th grader at Sebastian River High School. Andrew Bickle, an 11th grader from Vero Beach High School. And last but not least, Ashley Ferguson, a 10th grader from Sebastian River High as well. Let's give the students applause. Now they will read our attendance proclamation. Now bear with me, we may have some missing students, so we're going to do the best that we can and just to balance it off.
You might want to move the microphone. We want to see Jose. Jose.
Now how are we going to come to the front?
See him.
Let's go, Lon. Don't be shy. Okay, I'm just going to start right here. I'm going to start in order.
Whereas chronic absences, missing 10% or more of school for any reason, including excused and unexcused absences, or just 2 or 3 days a month, it is a proven predictor of academic trouble and dropout rates. And
whereas showing up for school is an opportunity for students to build routines that can create a sense of safety and belonging, increase engagement, and develop trusting relationships with peers, teachers, and school staff that increase engagement and motivate them to participate in learning. And
whereas improving attendance and reducing absenteeism takes school, families, and community partners working together to identify adverse factors contributing to students missing school, and
whereas improving attendance and reducing chronic absences and taking collaborating and tolerated approaches to particular challenges and strength in each community. And
whereas chronic absences predicts lower third grade reading proficiencies, course failure, and eventually dropout, and it weakens our community and our local economic and
whereas chronic absences can be significantly reduced when schools, parents, and communities work together to monitor and promote good attendance and address hurdles that keep children from getting to school, and whereas promoting attendance requires noticing as soon as possible when students are starting to miss too much school in order to engage student and families, identify and offer needed support and early intervention resources, and
now therefore be it proclaimed by the District School Board of Indian River County, Florida, that the District School Board designates the month of September 2022 as Attendance Awareness Month. The District School Board urges the community to commit to focusing on reducing chronic absenteeism, to give all children an equitable opportunity to learn, grow, and thrive. Adopted by the School Board of Indian River County, Florida on this 29th day of August 2022, signed on behalf of the District School Board of Indian River County, Florida by
And this is by our school board members. We will have them signed individually. Terry Barenborg, our chairman, Brian Barefoot, Dr. Mara Schiff, Dr. Peggy Jones, Jacqueline Rosario, and Dr. David Moore.
Yes. Okay, thank you. All right, I'm going to call for a motion to approve the proclamation as read. Could I have a motion?
Make a motion.
Okay, Ms. Rosario first.
Second.
Second, Dr. Schiff. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Aye.
Okay, it passes 5-0. Thank you all very much for coming today. Thank you.
Certainly congratulate all of our students for having perfect attendance. I would say make sure you're in school tomorrow, but they've already proven that they will be in school tomorrow. And congratulate all of our assistant principals and principals for the promotions. They are doing an absolute outstanding job of leading and inspiring our children each and every single day. And with that, Madam Chair, that completes our presentations for this evening.
Okay, I know some board members want to make a comment. I just wanted to congratulate all those that are newly appointed assistant principals and principals, and also thank students for their participation tonight. And also, I know how hard it is to come to school every day, but especially when you're in high school. So I commend the high school students that were up here, because I know that's amazing for them. Dr. Schiff.
Yeah, it's okay. When the principals and assistant principals were in the room, I just wanted to acknowledge how that makes my heart swell. And in the words of my ancestors, it actually makes me kvel for them. And if you don't know the word, look it up, but kvel is a Yiddish word that just means I'm so proud. And I look at them, and these are the moments I'll miss. When I step off this board, those are the moments I'll miss. When I look at the outstanding display of talent we have, and I get to celebrate them, that I'm going to miss. As well as the students, this is my first year in nearly 20 years not having a student go back to school this year. And I look at students, and again, it reminds me of all those years. It also makes my heart swell. I congratulate all of you, and I'm just incredibly proud of all of you and to be here. So thank you.
I'm sorry, and I see her sitting in the back, and we must have neglected to read her name, so definitely not last, but at least Dr. Jessica Keaton. Should we, no?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, AP, Liberty Magnet. Miss Berenborg.
You saying don't, but yes,
Okay.
we're going to acknowledge you.
Okay, Dr. Jones, go ahead.
Congratulations. I had the privilege of working with three of the APs who are now principals, and only problem is they keep getting younger, and I look at that and I think, but as Dr. Schiff said, man, that we have this kind of support and talent in this district, we are very, very fortunate. And I'm so glad attendance is one of our focus areas this year. As a high school principal, 90% wasn't good enough. You've got to get there every day that you can be there. Of course, we don't want you there when you're ill, but just know that it's very, very important, because that instructional delivery and student engagement, that's what I think really, really makes an impact on our students. So thank you to all those students who are doing their best in attendance, and congratulations to our APs and principals.
Okay. Anyone else? We're good? Okay. All right, moving on. Citizen input. So I need to read the guidelines for citizen input, those of you that are speaking tonight. Each statement made by a member of the public shall be limited to 3 minutes in duration. Persons will be recognized in the order in which the requests were received, and the time shall start when the speaker is at the podium, and the school board attorney will be the official timekeeper. You will hear beep at the end of your 3 minutes. She has the time right there. Persons may speak for up to 3 minutes at the beginning of a business meeting during citizen input as indicated in the order of business, and for up to 3 minutes to each action item during the action agenda, and each board member discussion item as indicated on the order of business. Persons may only speak once about any given item. The time period may be extended by the presiding officer. Only the individual submitting the speaker's form is allowed to address the board. Time may not be yielded to other speakers. During the meeting, please refrain from clapping or outbursts of any sort so that we can proceed with dignity and decorum by not infringing on any individual's First Amendment rights. I need to remind everyone to direct all comments to the chairperson, not to individual board members or to the superintendent. Board members may or may not address any citizen input statements at the end of all citizen input comments. As board members listen to citizens without interruption, citizens are asked to give board members the same respect. As per Florida Statute 1001.372, subsection 3, the presiding officer of any school district board may order the removal from a public meeting held by the district school board of any person interfering with the expeditious or orderly process of such meeting, providing such officer is first issued a warning that continued interference with the orderly processes of the meeting will result in removal. With that being said, we will start with our first speaker. I'll read the first speaker's name and the next person on deck, if you'll just come up behind them so we can run through quickly. That way everybody has enough time to get up to the podium. We'll start with Ron, is it Rumpet? And after that will be Don Cobb. Is Ron here? Is he out in the lobby? Am I way off on the name? R-O-M-P, either U or O-T? Okay, we'll hold that one to the end. Don Cobb is next. After Don is Cindy Gibbs. Hello.
Good evening. I've decided to spend my birthday with you.
Happy birthday.
Anyway.
Happy birthday.
No, I'm thankful for the opportunity, and I'll keep it brief. And I take this very seriously. My daughter's a member at the Vero Beach cross-country team. Recently, they terminated their coach. And I just observed something. This is nothing sensitive in an HR manner. Something I think we could do better in our county through the whole process. Being an outsider, and being new to this area, and being a former cross-country coach, I could have seen what was going to happen a mile away. So what I observed in this situation was, it was similar to how you'd handle a four-way stop without stop signs. You had all these competing interests, and it was bound to come into the intersection and cause a great crash. And all the injured people were from the parents, the coach, just the whole, all the competing interests. And the thing that I observed, because I'm a process person, I'm a software developer, and I've helped companies go public, is, and we do something called SOX, and we're audited beyond belief. The one thing I did observe as I asked the principal, the AD, questions about the process and the policy and how things were decided, I was very alarmed that it was just a moving target. So what I would want to implore the board to do, so we could avoid this next time, is to undertake this process knowing there's competing interests and have a clear, recognizable policy. That's what I told the principal that day as a parent. I don't have I'm not the jury, and my child will be fine. I was a former cross-country coach. She'll be great. We know how to handle the situation. But I'm worried for the others, and I'd like to avoid this, because anyone who observed this as a parent on the team could see this coming, that there was no clear, recognizable policy. So it's left one athlete feeling like an outsider. It's left one group of parents feeling like they're the problem. It's left a bunch of gossip. And the sad part is they missed state by 8 seconds last year. And these kids, I observed them this summer, they made great strides. This coach, she did a camp. She got them a free weightlifting membership. They showed up, and in their first meet after she was terminated, they all ran personal records, better times than last year. So the things that, all the innuendo, the gossip, things that weren't facts, were all just hyperbole. And that's why I think with good policy that's recognizable, like I mentioned to the principal, I think we could avoid this, okay? Because I think there's a lot of victims here and a lot of misunderstanding, and I implore you, they have a better team than last year. They can make state. If we would just give that some special care, and I'll help in any way.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. Next is Cindy Gibbs, and on deck is Maureen Weisberg.
Good evening, I'm Cindy Gibbs. I live in Sebastian. As a former teacher myself and the parent of 2 kids who go to our schools, I'd like to personally thank every teacher in every school for showing up every day in their classrooms to care for our kids and to teach them using the state-approved curriculum, which is written in alignment with the state-approved standards. Our teachers and our support staff live here, they're our neighbors, and their kids go to school here. They want what's best for our kids. And again, I say thank you to them. I also want to say thank you to the special brand of teachers who have been clinical educator trained to mentor our newer teachers, whether they're new to the profession because they have just finished college and joined us, or whether they have served in another capacity as a member of the military or some other specialty. And I really hope that our mentor teachers are properly supported and encouraged by their leadership, because we know the single most important aspect of a child's education when they are at school is the teacher. If our mentor teachers are supported and encouraged, they can support and encourage our new teachers, who can then support and encourage our children. Because that's what school's really all about: creation of relationships of trust and respect between teachers and students and their families, so our kids can learn with as few distractions as possible. As a professional development specialist myself, I'm very interested to learn more tonight about the professional development that our teachers are receiving and will receive. It's important to be honest and clear with our community that high-quality professional development for our teachers helps them to continue to teach to the state-approved standards, as they have always done. Facilitating a deep study of literature, discussion of factual historical events and their effects on the world, an authentic study of mathematics and science with a healthy dose of hands-on practice of why these skills are so important and essential to a strong economy. We seem to be off to a good start this year. We need to continue to hold up our teachers and our support staff. When they're confident, our kids can be too. And finally, I want to take time to recognize the importance of our before and after school programs. The extended day program that provides a vital service to our kids and their families. For those unfamiliar, the extended day program gives the kids of hardworking parents a safe and reliable place to go between the end of the school day and when their family member can get to them after work, also before school. The kids get snacks, they get drinks, they get mentored, they get help with their homework, they are encouraged to learn a new skill with an art or a craft or a sport, and they are generally offered protective services throughout the rest of the day until their family can get to them. It's a service that our families must pay for, but it is reasonably priced, and it fills a great need in our community that otherwise might not be there because of our public schools. Thank you, and thank you again to all our teachers.
Thank you. All right, next up is Maureen Weisberg, and on deck is Jennifer Pippin.
Good evening, Dr. Moore, esteemed school board members. My name is Maureen Weisberg, president of the CWA Local 3180. Tonight, I would like to share an email titled, "Farewell, My Sebastian River High School Friends." Hello, my friends. I hope this finds you rested and refreshed at the end of your summer. Unfortunately, I will not be returning this year. I have recently come to the sad realization that I am one of many that are coined as being pushed out of paradise. I am financially unable to remain in Florida if I wish to own a home. As some of you know, I fell into the issue, as many Floridians, with my rental housing being sold last year. Luckily, I was able to move in with my mother. I have now made the decision to relocate to Alabama, where my children's grandparents live, and the cost of living will be affordable. I am a sixth-generation native Floridian of Indian River County, and this is a sad situation for me, as well as for so many in this challenging times. I will stay positive and know that my Alabama family will be excited for me to be so close to them, but I love my hometown. I have thoroughly enjoyed this working environment and the fantastic people at Sebastian River High School who welcomed me into my position and became my friends. As you all truly embrace each other with sincerity, and I hope to hold you to these relationships. I appreciate your understanding regarding this difficult decision that I feel was not in my life plan. I surely envisioned myself retiring with the school district of Indian River County at Sebastian River High School. Thank you for all your support. Crystal Ruley, RN, Sebastian River High School, Health Assistant 3. Sadly, Ms. Ruley is not the only support staff making hard decisions about staying in Indian River County. Some of our support staff have had to drop health insurance coverage to make ends meet. The CWA is requesting an inflation bonus to help offset the rising costs that has crippled some of our support staff. Thank you.
Thank you. Jennifer Pippin is next. Marcos Valoria is on deck.
Good evening. I know that there are some children in here, so I'm going to ask the board if those children could be removed from this speech, please. Can we do that? Are they able to leave?
No, because we can't direct a parent. If somebody came here of their own free will, we can't direct them to leave.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Jennifer Pippin, and I'm the chairman for Moms for Liberty, Indian River County, Florida, and the co-founder of We the People, Indian River, Florida. Suppression of speech that is deemed uncivil, profane, or obscene violates the First Amendment rights of speech with viewpoint discrimination. If the school board exercises viewpoint discrimination, I'm deprived of the right to speech in violation of the First and 14th Amendments to the United States Constitution. The speech I offer is intended to protect our children from the questionable choices that have led to inappropriate, obscene, and pornographic materials placed in the school libraries. I want to exercise that right by accurately reading the library books aloud at our public meetings. By reading these books aloud, I am able to inform parents and elected officials responsible for the safety and well-being of our kids about the illicit material. When the material is available in our schools that's read aloud, the audience, including elected board officials, will hear the jarring, unsettling, and graphically sexual words in their original medium. This school library material is vulgar and has no educational value. I will remind you, attempting to suppress my speech is viewpoint discrimination, especially when quoted from available library books and other school materials. And again, I wanted to read these books, but with children present, I don't feel comfortable reading these books. What I wanted to do today was read two of the books that a parent who did the parental permission slip form that said they did not want to have their children read sexually explicit books in schools, and checked off on their parental permission slip form as well, provided by the district, that they did not want their child to read any challenged materials. I'll give you an example. This book here was challenged by Moms for Liberty last year. It had no movement. It stayed in the high schools, and this parent's child brought this book home. And again, I don't feel comfortable reading it with children present, but this book is sexually explicit in nature. And again, I don't even want to give a summary of what this book is. And you can see it has all of, this is not a book I purchased on Amazon. This was from the library, and if anybody wants to see this after, these are, all these sticky notes in here are all sexually explicit content in this book. It's over 100. This book I purchased on Amazon for $4. This is currently in our book, in our library, same thing. The parent opted out of sexually explicit content and challenged materials. Her student was able to check out these two books.
Thank you. Can I have the titles of those two books?
Yeah. It's Sold by Patricia McCormick. It's in all of our high schools here. And Tricks by Ellen Hopkins. And same thing, it's in the high schools here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Marcus Valoria and Diane Parentella on deck. Hi, Marcus.
Hello, my name is Marcos Valoria, and I've been a cross-country and track athlete for more than 2 years under Vero Beach High School's cross-country coach. Throughout my running career, I've learned that she's a very kind person, and she uses all her abilities to help guide us as student athletes into success. She truly dedicated herself to training us in a way that didn't make us hate running, but in a way that we would enjoy it. So, in the middle of a school day when I heard that she had been fired, I felt distraught and confused. How could such a caring person be fired just like that? Our coach tried her best to make us all feel included in everything we did. She made us thrive while running. She also wanted middle schools to have this enjoyment too, as she helped build cross-country teams in middle schools of this district. She even planned out an entire running camp to let us enjoy this sport and strengthen our team that was bound to go to states. But she did it all for nothing, as she was fired less than 2 weeks later. How is that fair? This woman has trained extraordinary athletes and created a community of runners through her sweat and tears. Not only was her removal shocking to her, it was devastating to 40 of us athletes. She made many impacts in our lives and taught us to keep going even if it's related to athletics or not. But do you know what stood out to me the most about her? The way she made me feel important. The way she made me feel like I belong in a group that cares about me, like I belong in a family. Our coach always made everyone feel important and allowed us to radiate our success at the races, regardless of our speed, age, or other superficial features. She genuinely cared for each and every one of us and always treated us with complete respect. In my 2 years with her, I've never felt or seen anyone else feel left out or disrespected in any way. Her never-ending care and unwavering dedication to seeing the ultimate success of this team is what truly has made her the best coach I have ever had, and I know for certain that several others can say the same. It honestly saddens me that the athletic director and other administrators have removed such a great person from our athletic program. As a student athlete who has been benefited by the coaching of her, please find justice in this unfair process of her removal. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcus. Diane Parentella is next. Rakesh Mehta is next.
Good evening. As I contemplated and reflected on the message I wanted to convey to the board tonight, I was reminded via my Facebook newsfeed of a quote by Mr. Rogers that has truly resonated with me. He said, quote, "Human beings are not born with self-control. We have to learn what to do with the that we feel. Learning to control ourselves is a long, hard process. It happens little by little. In fact, it's something we work on all through our lives. Learning what to do with the mad that we feel. There are many people who come to this podium each meeting expressing their anger. But how do we move from reacting to their anger to responding to the anger? How do we join together proactively to partner and problem solve? Moreover, what message are we sending to the children during these tumultuous times? Tonight, you were set to adopt a policy, 2520, related to book challenges. I understand that's been moved. However, as a media specialist, it is my hope that soon this board will consider creating the new policy related to purchases of library materials. As a result of new legislation, librarians are not able to purchase new books or other materials until a training occurs. Complicating and prolonging matters is that the training has yet to be developed by the state and is not slated to occur until at least January of 2023. To date, our school libraries have been unable to purchase any new materials since March. I come before this board with a resounding echo, best by kids. In my mind, this is not best by kids. Our children are missing out. Last school year, I purchased a subscription to Pebble Go, a curriculum content hub with ready-made activities and informational articles that my students were able to use to do research. It boosts engagement and fosters independent learning in core subject areas. The new BEST standards include standards related to conducting research. Last year, during Disability Awareness Month, students accessed 17 articles related to different conditions and disabilities through Pebble Go. We also read a book, Just Ask, by Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor. I received very positive feedback from a parent whose child has diabetes, as that was what the book was about. She appreciated that her son would also enjoy books about other children with a disability. There's a new book out by Justice Sotomayor, but I can't buy it. During Hispanic Heritage Month, my students also did research. Last year, they researched over 13,247 articles in Pebble Go and Pebble Go Next. They checked out 11,481 library books last year.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, Rakesh is next, and Samir is after that.
Hello, my name is Rakesh Mehta, and I'm a junior at Vero Beach High School. I participate in cross country, and I'm here to talk about my coach, who I believe was wrongly fired from her job. To myself and many of my teammates and friends, our cross country coach was more than just a coach. She was not only extremely dedicated to our team, but she cared about every single athlete on it. She came to our school events and awards ceremonies whenever she had time. When teaching us about nutrition and hydration, she offered to provide meals to any kids who weren't provided with enough food at home. Over my almost 3 years running with her, we've developed a special bond. In this time, I've also created so many meaningful relationships with my teammates who are now my closest friends. The experiences I've had with my coach have shaped me into the person I am today. I've become a better version of myself, not only in this great sport, but in many other aspects of my life. And I would not be this person if it was not for the amazing coaching and teaching of this coach.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Samir? And after that, Tony Mehta.
Hello, my name is Samir Mehta, and I'm a Vero Beach High School cross-country runner. As a kid, me and my brother would always run local races with our dad. My dad loved running and would run all sorts of races, which is the reason why we got into it. As I got into high school, my dad brought up the idea of doing cross-country. I wanted nothing to do with it. The thought of waking up at 4 a.m. on Saturdays for cross-country meets and having practice every day in the hot Florida heat was not something I was up for. After a while of going back and forth with my parents, I finally decided to give it a shot. I was still on the edge about it for the first couple weeks of summer conditioning. If it wasn't for our cross-country coach, I probably would have stopped running. She helped me see how much fun and exciting running was. She was so kind and welcoming to everyone and saw the potential everyone had. When Coach told the team that at the end of the summer we would go to Tallahassee for a running camp, I was so excited. As a kid, my parents would not let me and my brother have lots of sleepovers and go to sleepaway camps. But because of the bonds and trust that we have made with Coach over the last 3 years, they were perfectly fine with letting us go. Coach is not only the best coach I've ever worked with, but also one of the most kind-hearted people that I know. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next is Tony Mehta. After that is Alyssa Johnson.
Good evening, board members. My name is Tony Mehta, and I appreciate the opportunity. Those are my boys here, and you know, when something happens, the ability for them to come here and express themselves, I really appreciate that you've offered this opportunity to them. I too, you know, I'm upset by the situation that's occurred. One of the most frustrating things as a parent is the lack of communication that we've had about the situation. So it was kind of abruptly, when I can't answer to my kids what happened, that makes it a very difficult job to be a parent. I'm also the Booster Club president for the Vero Beach High School cross country team, and I've had an honor to get to know this coach for the last couple of years. And I echo what my boys have said and others have said. This is a great coach. She's looked out for the athletes, and I can tell you, working with her, she's looked out for the district. One of the things so far right now, it's been a very disruptive period this year so far for the kids and parents. We have a meet that was supposed to be held this coming weekend, second annual. Last year, the district made $5,000 in revenue. That meet is canceled. And if the coach was still here, that meet would have carried on, and the district would have incurred probably more than $5,000 to $6,000 in revenue. So I think that's a loss as well. There's also loss to the kids. You know, all the kids used to be able to go to every meet. Now the policy has changed, and the kids aren't allowed to go to meets. That's very disappointing. Late last night, we got a message that the practice times have changed without, again, any communication. You know, Sunday night after 5 p.m. being notified that the kids are no longer going to go to cross country after school that they've been doing for the last 2 years. Now it's from 4 to 5:30 in the evening. That was very disruptive. Again, no communication, late last minute. I appreciate that there's an investigation that's been started. I want to thank you for that. And whatever the outcome, I hope there's an opportunity for the administration to meet with the parents to let us know kind of what happened. We appreciate and hope that it's a fair process. If you determine that there was a just reason for this, then we will have to live with that, and I will have to explain to my kids what happened. However, if you find that this was an unjust decision, we really hope that you reinstate this coach, because as my kids said, this is a great coach, and the kids deserve an opportunity to continue with that leadership. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, Alyssa Johnson is next, and Ben Dunham is after that.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Elisa Johnson, and I would also like to sing the praises of the former coach of Vero Beach cross country team. My oldest daughter joined cross country as a freshman and was lucky to run 4 years for Vero Beach High School's cross country team. She was instrumental in helping my daughter achieve the opportunity to run at state her freshman year. As a physical therapist, she knew better than any teacher how to work with runners to improve time without risk of injury. Her workouts were meticulously planned to take into consideration all levels of runners, where they were and where they needed to go. She implemented team building events to strengthen not only their physical health, but also their mental health. During COVID, she upheld all district requirements, making sure the athletes knew the seriousness of breaking protocols. Outside of coaching, she worked to strengthen the district's middle school cross-country programs, and it is because of her that my younger daughter runs for her middle school team. She's one of the greatest coaches our family has known. I'm disappointed in the school's decision to let her go, and I don't think they realize the huge impact she has had on the cross-country community and how her loss will be deeply felt. Thank you.
Thank you. Our last speaker tonight is Ben, is it Dunham?
That's right.
Okay.
I'm Ben Dunham. I have 4 children in the school district here. I'm also speaking about the cross-country situation at Vero Beach High School. 4 children, 3 at Vero Beach High School, 2 are in the cross-country team, 1 at Beachland Elementary. I also have background in the sport, ran in Miami in high school, and I was at the University of Miami running cross-country and track and field for 4 years. I've gotten to know everybody involved in the situation. I know there's an investigation going on, and I hope that that goes to a conclusion. I know that the parents that have been involved, the coaches, and the as well as the athletic director are all good people. I think there's really a really bad case of communication, bad collaboration. I think we talked about this earlier, and I hope that the investigation can find that and help us get through this. I do think it's in the best interest of all of the student athletes to be able to reinstate this coach. This coach was someone that has dedicated a lot of time. I've seen a lot of good coaches through my years. My coach from the University of Miami was just inducted to the Hall of Fame at the University of Miami just recently. My teammates are now coaches at University of South Florida here in the state of Florida. The coach has done a great job of training these athletes. I've seen many great coaches, and I think the way that this coach has been able to train the athletes, the process that she goes through has been above and beyond that of many other coaches that I've seen. I've been very thankful for the coaches that have stepped in to help this process more recently. But that being said, I am worried about the ability for these student athletes to achieve their full potential without the coach being reinstated. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Did you want to speak?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. In terms of the cross-country, as referenced, there is an investigation. So on the personnel front, there's not much we can comment on until that has come to conclusion. But every assurance that it will be a thoughtful, thorough, comprehensive, and fair review. And we will do, in fact, what is best by children. I can tell you there will be operational opportunities to improve practice. Communication, with a little bit that I do know, there is clear opportunities to improve the communication and connectivity between the parents and students that we serve with the program as a whole. And we will identify those, learn from that, and move forward. In terms of the challenge material, first, Jennifer, we always don't see eye to eye, but I want to thank you for making the decision that you made tonight and not read the material. I appreciate that. Material that is being challenged is not information that was challenged previous. It would be current information. So all challenges that have already taken place, they have been done. The board has taken action on those specific items. So if a parent has selected challenged materials, as we're checking out that, and as we're looking to check to ensure that we're not providing information that a parent doesn't want, we're looking to see in that check there's no material that's currently being challenged as we're in the process of creating that, how we're going to review materials. In terms of the selection of material, that is a hard one. That is a tough one. And I think it was part of the conversation that we had at our board workshop, really creating a process, making sure that we do protect our teachers through informing them, our media specialists, by informing them of what is the state's expectation, what has become clearly defined in statute as well as state board rule. We are seeing progress in terms of the state conducting rulemaking meetings, so we are hopeful that we will get that information sooner rather than later, so we can get that information and material out to our educators so they can create media specialists that encourage students to attend and participate. Those are my comments, Madam Chair.
Okay, I'd just like to say too, first of all, thank you for being brave enough, students, to come up here and speak, and you did a great job. My students, my 2 boys were in cross country in high school. I agree with you. They didn't want to get up early and run, so I applaud you for doing that. Thank you to all our speakers for coming forward and for board members to be able to get this information. We appreciate that. Okay. Yes? Okay. So, board members, we are on to consent items.
I do have a question
Okay.
before they leave.
You have a question?
Yeah,
Sorry,
the
don't leave
gentleman-
yet.
Don't leave yet. I have a question for the superintendent. Dr. Moore, considering the situation here, what's going to happen with the upcoming meets? Are we going to ensure and provide a substitute in the meantime? I mean, if we're going to be Best by Kids, we have kids that are waiting in the wing trying to figure out what to do next.
So, through the chair, I don't know if you were looking at my notes, but that is one of the points of connectivity. So we'll reach out to the school to see if something was canceled. The reality is, as tough and as hard as this is, you are 100% correct. We don't want to impact, cancel, or modify anything. So I just learned that. So we will be following up this evening with the school side.
But we do have coaches in place, correct?
Yes, coaches are
Okay.
in place. What's pending for me is a meet that was scheduled in which we generated $5,000, which is now not taking place.
Well, I don't want to make the decision based on just the financial part. I'm thinking about the children who are, desiring to meet, who are desiring to practice and play.
No, I understand. I just got to get the information to see what the impact was and what decisions were made.
Madam Chair, I think the dad had his hand was up. If you.
Do you want to come back up and answer that question?
It's up to you, Madam
I can't have you give another speech, but you can answer the question.
Certainly. Thanks for the opportunity, Tony Mehta. So this was the second year that the Vero Beach High School was going to have this meet at the fairgrounds, and it has now been canceled, has been removed from all the meet schedule, and not only impacts our local kids here at Vero Beach High School, but Sebastian and St. Ed's, but there was 33 other high schools, I believe, that were planning to come to this meet, so it's impacting all those schools, an economic impact to having all these school kids come from other places as well. They're losing an opportunity for a meet, so with the new coaches in play right now, maybe they didn't have the opportunity, they didn't have the time. One of the reasons I heard is that the fairgrounds where this meet happened last year was not ready for construction. I work for the County Utilities Department. I've spoken to the project manager a month ago, and even recently, the fairgrounds, the contractor was aware of this race. They were going to have everything ready. Everything was going to be moved out of the way so that the race could be held at the fairgrounds. But I just feel that the new coaches may not have had the time and the experience to put together a successful meet. Had this coach not been removed, I think we would have had a meet this coming weekend. It's too late now, but I don't think all the parents have been even informed that this meet has been canceled. So that's, again, goes back to communication. There is, St. Ed's is planning to have a meet at the fairgrounds later this month. I believe they're going to continue and carry on that meet. So it could have been done by, again, Vero Beach High School had the leadership maintained. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Can I just follow up on that for a second? Thank you for that. It sounds clearly like it's too late for this weekend. But the question then is whether it can be rescheduled for a subsequent weekend where all of the other schools will have time in their own planning as well to get here once we've sort of sorted out whatever it is that happened. But because it didn't happen this weekend, let's be hopeful that we can sort that out to have in an upcoming weekend as soon as possible.
Absolutely.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Just to follow up on one of the, from our media specialists who talked to us today, Dr. Moore, I think she said that as of last October, they could not order books, so it'll be a year in October, correct?
I want to say March.
March,
okay, all right.
Okay.
Still a long time, though.
And we're looking at the committee, I guess, getting rolling around January and getting some information on that.
So we are literally attending and observing the state board meetings in which they're conducting that rulemaking process. So some rules are starting to show up on the agenda at state board meetings in October. So that is encouraging. So as soon as the state board ruling a decision is rendered at one of their state board meetings, we'll be able to quickly act. I think one of the things that we have done as a school system has really been, we've acted extremely swiftly regarding even the policies that we're approving tonight. We'll be one of the first districts to have those in place. So we're not sitting on our hands. We're not waiting. We're acting as swiftly as we possibly can with a level of caution in order to ensure that we do in fact protect our parents, protect our students, protect our staff in terms of giving them the guidance to make decisions that keep everyone in a space and a place in which they can feel comfortable in terms of what they're doing in our classrooms with our children.
Right now, we need parent permission for any child to check out any book. It must be from parent permission on our Focus.
So we did push that out through Focus. So the answer is yes, there's a level of access parents can give us to absolutely, no issues in terms of renting books or books that are currently under review or books that have been required parental permission. So there's a lot of freedom in which the parents can sit in the driver's seat and make those selections based on their level of comfort within their home.
And last year when we were looking at all this, I just got some information from our secondary libraries, and this goes back to the question we talked about earlier with instructional material. Vero Beach High School has 19,500 books. Sebastian River High School, 23,000. Freshman Learning Center, 15,000. Storm Grove, 12,000. Sebastian Middle, 13,000. Oslo, 7,000. And Gifford Middle School, 11,000. I did not get to the elementary. So when we're looking at instructional material for books, in order for a child to check out a book, and I already had some calls from parents on this after the workshop, is that book going to have to review? Are we going to review 103,000 books in the secondary libraries?
So that is part of the policy in which we just pulled, and I think that's part of the bigger conversation for us to have as a board, so we all understand regarding what the state is expecting in terms of, as well as what this board is expecting as well. So it is having a conversation, so we're all on the same page.
And one other thing we had it at a workshop in May, and it was very good. It went over the secondary libraries and how many books are being checked out other than SAT, ACT, dual enrollment, AP, and IB. And I think it was 32 books at Sebastian River High School. And now, so the bigger picture for me, obviously, the parent has the right to say what books the child will read. That's not the issue. The bigger picture for me is making sure that our students are reading and getting to the media centers and using them appropriately, and that we continue to look, I think Ms. Wall put this out, ways to design that for our children so that they are coming to libraries. I don't have the elementary, and I know Diane talked about how many books were checked out there, and when you look at the high school, there's a real difference. We want our students reading. We want them reading what is appropriate. We know that's a parent's choice, and they have to approve that through Focus. So I think there's a lot of discussion we need to look at here.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, I think it was good that we pulled that item then.
Yeah.
Well, the item that was pulled does not specifically outline what the process is for vetting the instructional materials for the library and the media center, which was my original concern prior to discussing pulling it, why we don't have something in writing that clearly outlines the process for vetting the instructional materials via or that are available through the media center, the library or the media center. This one that was just pulled really talks about the process for the adoption of textbooks and for the process of those textbooks or materials that are not recommended through the textbook adoption process. Again, we don't have anything. So what was identified for us, just so that it's public record, that the new rules from the Florida Department of Education on these library materials, it came to the school district, it was received, at least it was dated, the letter was dated June 3rd, through the superintendent to the board members, and it's really specifically talking about this entire issue, this discussion about library books and how to vet them and what we're supposed to do moving forward. It references House Bill 1467. It came to us from Jacob Oliva, and it has a whole bunch of different bullets on there. One of the bullet points specifically regarding this entire process is the responsibility of school boards to adopt procedures, which we don't have. What we have tonight that I think was a little confusing for Mrs. Parentella, because she mentioned that what we're pulled tonight were the challenges for the library books. That's not what's pulled tonight. Tonight, what's going to be approved are the challenges to the library books. that policy, the challenges for the library books, that's going to be approved tonight, hopefully. What is not approved and what was pulled was the process for the vetting of the library books for new purchases. So that's what we need to implement. That's what we need to, where we need to get to. We kind of did it a little backwards because halfway through this letter, the DOE also, not even halfway, at the end of this letter, the DOE says that even though this is supposed to take place July 1st of 2022, there is still a deadline here that no later than June 30th, 2023, the superintendent has to provide the FDOE with some certification, and then the DOE is also saying that in January of 2023, there would be a deadline for media center specialists to get specially trained. So there are all these kind of deadlines, and I think that's what the superintendent is suggesting. I will, however, agree with Mrs. Parentella and say, we do have access, or I would say we do have the ability to create a process in the until that time comes, until a rulemaking comes from the DOE that says, don't do this, do this, whatever. We have the ability right now to create that process.
We do.
So if the board would agree, then we can get together and we can come up with a process for that. I mean, we've already got now the challenges, so all we really have to create is what would it take. The only thing that is necessary, we already know what is not supposed to be in these books. It is very clear that it is written out that these books should not contain pornography or anything that is prohibited in statute 847, which is the obscenity statute. And that this needs to be age appropriate and grade appropriate. So the only outstanding question that seems to be an issue is what is age appropriate? I don't see how that's a controversy. I mean, age appropriate, 2-year-old, you just don't give a 2-year-old a trigonometry book, right?
Yeah, Ms. Rosario, what we'll do is we'll put this agenda item on for next meeting.
Yeah, I think we
for
should.
discussion.
Yeah.
Because right now, we're just at the end of citizen input.
No,
So
it's okay.
we're getting, I think, a little too into the weeds here. I'm going to call for a motion to approve the consent agenda items.
So approval. Second.
Dr. Schiff, Dr. Jones, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed?
Aye.
Okay, 5-0. With that understanding of what we just approved, I'll wait because we have some noise, is that policy she was just talking about, all the policies except for the one that we pulled were just approved, along with 4 donations. And I do want to thank people that donate to our district. We had Mid-Florida Credit Union, Fraternal Order of Eagles, and Fellsmere Frog Leg Festival that made large donations, but we had one very large donation this time. That very large donation was Express Reel Grinding for $19,700 to Vero Beach High School, so we appreciate that very much. Okay, we had nothing pulled from consent to action, so we're going to move to action. First one is Action 13A, approval of small school district council consortium participation resolution fiscal year 2022-2023. Boy, is that a mouthful. All right. I'll call for a motion.
So move.
Okay. Dr. Jones?
Second.
Dr. Schiff? Any discussion on this? All right, we have to call for a roll call. So, Ms. Esplin, will you do the roll call?
Dr. Schiff?
Aye.
Dr. Jones?
Aye.
Mrs. Rosario?
Aye.
Mr. Barefoot?
Aye.
Mrs. Barrenborg?
Aye.
The vote passes 5-0.
Okay, thank you. All right, moving on to action item 13B, approval of resolution 2023-06, tax anticipation notes, series 2022. This is hard for me to read. A call for a motion.
Move approval.
Second.
Dr. Schiff, Dr. Jones, any discussion?
Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead.
I just want to say, for anybody who's watching this, who did not also watch our workshop. These several items were discussed at length in our workshop, so the appearance of having no dialogue now is not because we haven't considered or discussed them, it's because we actually already did it a few hours ago, and I just want to clarify that.
Ms. Rosario?
Yeah, we really need to have these conversations in the public because this one needed to be had. If you have not watched or heard or listened to our earlier discussion, I really encourage you to do so. The tax anticipation note timeline would really addresses not having enough cash flow for a short period of time because of the property taxes coming in. The timeline just doesn't match up with the cash flow that we have in order for us to pay our bills and pay salaries and all of that kind of stuff. Really, you can get, for anybody who wants an in-depth understanding of this, please listen to the earlier conversation in our workshop. You'll hear all board members' comments and concerns about it, and it's important. But I do want to say, thank you, Mr. Fagan, for your work in this area and for really turning that department around from what it was to what it is now. As I mentioned earlier, it is pretty disappointing to hear that we would have to go for a TAN right now, but I understand the concern. And so where I would usually say, I would usually be a no vote, I will support it. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to actually correct a statement you just made, Ms. Rosario. You made the comment that we did not discuss this in the public. We did discuss it in the public. We discussed it at our workshop.
Okay.
I think you meant to say we should have discussed it at the business meeting.
Yes, business meeting,
That is an
correct.
open meeting. Anybody
you.
can come to the workshop.
You're right.
I just want to make sure that that was very clear. Everybody knows that we discussed it in the public.
You're right. Thank you for the clarity.
I don't want to be in trouble. All right. You know how I feel about the TAN. I don't think our taxpayers should have to foot the bill for everything and then have us lose money just because we're trying to make sure that we don't have checks bounce, basically. And it was brought up today how much that is costing us, $144,000. To be able to do this. So I think, again, I'm going to stress that we need to talk to our legislators and continue to do so. I know I have in the last 2 years, but I'm going to continue to do that. And the only way you can do that is strengthen numbers, and we need to work with the other districts that are in the same boat. Okay, enough said. We'll call for the roll call vote. Ms. Vesplin?
Dr. Schiff?
Aye.
Dr. Jones?
Aye.
Mrs. Rosario?
Aye.
Mr. Barefoot?
Aye.
Mrs. Barrenborg?
Aye.
The TAN passes 5-0.
Okay, thank you. 13, action item C, public hearing and adoption of school board policies from 7/25/2022. This item deals with adoption of school board policies. Dr. Moore, have you documented this public hearing was properly advertised in accordance with state statutes?
I have.
We are now in recess. This meeting to conduct the public hearing as advertised. The public hearing is now in session. Dr. Moore, are there any written responses to the advertised public hearing to be read at this time?
Not at this time.
Okay. Did I scare him?
You.
Sorry. The public is invited to address this issue at this time. Is there any individual representing an organization or his own personal or public interest who wishes to speak? The chair concludes that the announced public hearing on the adoption school board policies has been conducted pursuant to notice and that ample opportunity to address this issue has been provided to all. Seeing none, the board meeting is reconvened at this time. I'll call for a motion.
Move approval.
Dr.
Second.
Schiff, Dr. Jones, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Aye. Okay, that's a 5-0 vote. Superintendent's report, Dr. Moore.
No report this evening, Madam Chair.
No report. Discussion. All right, we have nothing for discussion. School board member matters. Who would like to go first?
I'll go.
Okay.
Seems like a long time since we've been here, but first day of school with the buses at 5:45. We started the year with Jennifer Idolette, Ms. Dampier, Mr. Heiser, Mr. Bass, Ms. Basura, Dr. Moore, and Ms. Berenborg. I made it to every school in the first 2.5 weeks, and I had the pleasure and the privilege of working with elementary principals on the drop-off, and it was wonderful. First few days are always a little exciting, but they seem to get it under control within the first week. And I love, most of the parents said, "I love you and be kind." And I thought that's a great thing to say as your students leave. The parent engagement at Rosewood with MCAN, with being at the school, I talked a little bit about that in the workshop today. That was absolutely fantastic, and I think that's the way to go. Looking forward to the next one. Football games, Sebastian's home next week, volleyball, everything's getting started within our athletics. And I certainly hope all the teachers and staff members have a great year. I know this summer we were dealing with some new requirements with law and heard from a lot of teachers, heard a little bit of trepidation, but we just want you to continue to do what you've always done, and that is teach our students the standards. You know, when we look at what is being taught, and I say this for our parents, if you go to cpalms.org, C, the letter C, palms.org, you will see all the standards that are to be taught in every grade and every subject area. And if you take a look at it, it is absolutely a huge responsibility for the teachers, and they don't have time to do anything but that. Also, if you take a look at our state statute, 1003-42, it tells you what must be taught in K through 12. Some of those things are the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, the Republican form of government, the U.S. Constitution, education of the Holocaust, history of African Americans, conservation of natural resources, women's contributions, kindness to animals, character development, and patriotism. We are teaching American history. We are not teaching CRT. Please take a look at these standards. You know, a lot of times we just keep going and putting our heads down and not saying anything. Our teachers are teaching the standards. Again, I made it to every school the first couple weeks, and that's just my first round. When you go into those classrooms, it is amazing what our teachers are doing. And with House Bill 1557, to our LGBTQ students, staff, to our parents, please know that you are valued. Please know that this school district does not discriminate. And Dr. Moore, if there's ever an issue with that, I expect you and the principals to handle it and handle it with care. Any student who may be transitioning in the school system, you are valued, you are safe, and you are protected by Title IX of the federal law. K through 3, we are not instructing anyone on sexual orientation, and anyone who thought that was absolutely wrong. We as board members have to stand up for our teachers. We have to stand up for what they do on a daily basis. As of last week, and it might be a little bit lower now, we're close to 4,000 teachers short in the state of Florida. We are lucky here still in Indian River County that we are doing a pretty good job of recruiting and retaining. And we're doing a better job of recruiting and retaining African American teachers, and we must continue with that. In 1970, there were 300,000 graduates in education in this country. In 2018, before COVID, we had only 160,000 graduating. And I know it's less now with COVID. So you have to wonder why teachers are not going into it. We must do a better job of enabling our teachers to do the job they need to do, supporting them. And if they're wrong, we deal with it. We deal with it. But I just want you to know that we are here for you as a school board. You know, teachers were calling me this summer saying, is there a bounty on my head? If someone anonymously reports me for something, I double check with Dr. Moore. I don't know of that in this state. I hope not. But again, we must always be there for our teachers and our administrators and our support staff. It is absolutely essential that they see us as someone that they can talk to. Parents, if there is an issue with the teacher, please talk to the teacher first. You know, your child, I had 3 children, they come home and they say, well, this is what happened. I'll say, well, let me get the other side of the story, and then we'll go from there. But I just ask parents to, I'm telling you, as a principal, when I had that parent support, and parents gave me constructive criticism all the time, you can do better on this, doc, or this has got to change, it is absolutely wonderful. It is what makes us soar. It is what makes students succeed and makes our district become an A district. So as someone, I feel I could say this, been here for 42 years, probably put more into the system because of my age, than a lot of people, is that I am 100% absolutely a pro-public school person. And I think that one reason we work so well is that we accept everyone. And when I say accept everyone, not only do we do that on paper, we do it with our heart. So teachers, I'm there for you. Parents, I'm there for you. And most importantly, students, I am there for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Schiff?
Wow. Thank you, and if that were a document, I would co-sign it with you. Thank you for that statement. I applaud you. Ditto everything you just said. Thank you for that. Other than that, I have nothing. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Rosario?
Opening of school this year was fantastic. There were little to no issues. The buses ran smoothly. We were fully staffed on buses, correct?
Drivers to spare. With drivers to spare.
With drivers to spare. I visited several schools, and it was really just fantastic to see everyone where they need to be. And parents were excited, students were excited about the new year, so it is exciting. I'm glad that the new year has gotten started without any major controversies, and everything is the way that, you know, the way it should be. I do have some concerns, though, about discipline and making sure that everyone understands the new bullying, the no bullying policy, or the no bullying push for our community to all band together. I would like us to really get the word out more aggressively if possible. I don't know what students are doing in the schools with regard to this, or what schools are doing with the students, rather. So I'd like to see a little bit more effort on that end to see if we can really get a handle on ending bullying. I did attend an executive roundtable session last week. It was a substance awareness center, safer coalition training for all executive roundtable members and communities. And it was really centered around communities that care, key leader community board roles, an understanding of what that means, and, you know, moving forward, how that would impact our community, our entire district, and the community at large, Indian River County. So there's really not much to say about that until the next training, and we'll learn more about it later on. And I think that's about it.
Okay, Mr. Barefoot?
Just congratulations on a very smooth. Hope that this, if I'm in an echo chamber, it sounds bad reception. So congratulations. I'll save my remarks until next time in person.
Thank you. What did he say? I think he said congratulations to all the.
Good opening and
Yeah.
remarks
Good
that
opening.
he's alive.
Yeah. I too got to go on a lot of campus visits. I went actually right before school started, and then I went on opening day, of course. But the reason why I wanted to do that is to check on some safety issues, pointing out some things that I was able to see when you get to talk to teachers when they're prepping their rooms. You learn a little bit more about some concerns that you have that you might not know when the kids are all in there. So that was kind of a little bit eye-opening, and I shared that with superintendent. I also had a new granddaughter born last week. Yeah, she's 8 days old, I think, and I can't wait to go hold her again. And having gone through an election recently, I'm going to tell you, I hope bullying also is reflected with adults. Adults need to be leaders and models for kids. And we need to start behaving as we want our kids to behave. And that's all I'm going to say on that. Is Ron Rompet here, who emailed in that wanted to speak, but I called out the name before, didn't speak?
Pretty safe to say no.
Okay, all right.
I have one more thing. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
go ahead.
I'm sorry, I forgot to mention this, but the Jimmy Graves Complex
Oh, yeah.
opening,
Yes,
Ms.
thank you.
Rosario and I
Yeah.
were there on Saturday, and it was really good. I'd like to thank Brian Barefoot, Ms. Emerson, Dr. Moore for really leading this, and of course, the Joe Graves family. Dr. Moore, am I correct? Is it 2.6 we've raised so far, or 2.8?
Currently sitting at 2.8.
And I know the Wilsons were there, the Wilson track will be there, and that will be an 8-lane track, and I've already got a text into FHSA when it's ready. I want the state tournament, so
Good.
we'll, start working on that. And just having those things, we used to have softball here for 5 years in the old Dodgertown complex. That's just great for the community. And, we make a little money, and then the kids come here and see Vero Beach. But when I used to run the state tournaments, you try to get the best facility available, and I know that will be one of the best. But thank you, Mr. Barefoot, for spearheading that. Thank you to the Graves family, and thank you to Cindy Emerson and Dr. Moore for really getting that aligned with what we want to do for our students. A lot of kids grew up on that field. Thank you.
Thank you for mentioning that. I'm sorry that we forgot to say that. Superintendent's closing.
That's it. We are off to a absolutely wonderful opening of schools. We're about 220 students up compared to where we were at this time last year, which is a great sign. People are understanding the quality of instruction that's taking place in our schools. Cannot thank our principals, our district staff, our teachers, very focused in on doing what is in the best interest of children and continuing to problem solve. And just looking forward to what is going to be an absolutely outstanding school year.
Okay, thank you. With that, we are adjourned at 7:31.